So, how does it feel? Your teammates going into the Hall of Fame later on this year.
Yeah, I'm thrilled for the guy. I appreciate the fact that he was being completely humble when he was talking to you guys because it gives us a chance to brag on him a little bit. For us, 95 is a little shocking on the other end, right? But this is so well deserved, and I think I'm glad that he made an interesting point yesterday, knowing that he was trending in such a dominant fashion. He was able to kind of enjoy yesterday, knowing that he was going to sail in. So I think that I'm super happy for him to have that opportunity where he was able to enjoy it with his family. I think he was definitely telling the truth when he said he didn't want cameras in his house. So for him to kind of like sacrifice that so everyone can experience it with him, so fans can experience it with him, speaks to the kind of person he is. So again, I'm thrilled for Adrian. It's so well deserved.
Was there a point during you guys' time together where you're like, yeah, this guy is a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, that's a really great question. First year. Yeah, because you start realizing that the guys who get Adrian was an everyday player and he was 19, right? So you start seeing head start's the wrong way to put it because it's well earned to be a 19-year-old everyday player, but you see the numbers they start stacking up at such a young age, and then he comes to us his first year, and I'd played against him for years in Seattle. Knew he was a really good player, but right away you start seeing kind of the way he approaches the game. And everyone always asks me that my favorite part about Adrian's game. People talk about defense and great hitter, but to me it was just he was such an intelligent player, one of the smartest players I've ever played with, and it didn't take me long to realize that. So you start talking about a guy who's still young, who's still trying to put up a ton of numbers, and he was just so smart. First year I'm like, 3,000 hits. You start thinking about 3,000 hits, right? You're like, wow, 3,000 hits, this kind of defense, that screams Hall of Famer. So, yeah, first year.
You mentioned the joy that was important for him to rediscover. How much did that impact you and the teammates around you? Was that infectious among the group, him finding that joy again and playing the way he did?
I think so, because he makes a really good point, because I feel like I saw the game in a similar way when you're young and you grow up in that era. Veteran players don't give rookies that kind of latitude that they have now. Nowadays, young players are encouraged to take over ownership of a clubhouse. Back then, it was the classic, right, just be seen, don't be heard kind of thing. So I think he always kind of felt, and I felt the same way, that you just show up, you do your job. And I think for him, in terms of his personality, I think he kind of felt a little held back. And then all of a sudden, he kind of hits a sweet spot of his career where he's very productive, and you start seeing the benefits of just being himself. I think anyone in any job can relate to that, and that's when you start seeing his game really take off. So, I'm glad he said that, because I think a lot of people can take some lessons from it.
You talk about his humbleness, and he said up there, he doesn't feel like he belongs with those guys. Why do you think he said that? Why do you think he doesn't feel that?
I can only imagine this is a whirlwind, You're talking about, like you said, Willie Mays, Ken Griffey Jr., these are like monsters of the sport, right? You walk through that, I'm sure you're going to walk through that, he's going to walk through that room with all those plaques and see his there. That's pretty overwhelming, right? But we know that he does belong, and that's why he's there. That's why he's there and made it in such a convincing fashion. So again, because he did, first ballot, everything, he checked every box to become a Hall of Famer. So again, I'm so happy for him. Again, it speaks to the humbleness of Adrian is one reason why he's so beloved as a teammate.
What part of his game do you feel like you've implemented the most?
I implemented?
Yeah, implemented in your every game.
I don't know. I will say this. I mean, I tried to. For me, I was. TR swallowed this microphone, by the way. Just. I came up as a second baseman, and I always felt like I was a natural second baseman. When I went to third, it was I had to really learn it, right? It wasn't instinctive for me at all, and all of a sudden Adrian comes in, and I'm seeing someone who's learned it, has a ton of experience, and was super instinctive. In his first year with us, I think he yanked a hamstring, and he missed maybe a month, maybe a little more, and I was playing third. So honestly, at that point, I'd seen him playing third for a while, so I was really trying to, again, help myself out, and who better to learn from than one of the best ever. So I would have to say just trying to see if I can see the things that he was doing so I can make myself a little more consistent defensively.
Adrian said he wasn't able to announce yet if he'll go in as a Ranger, but can you speak to what that would mean for the whole franchise?
Yeah, I think either, honestly, this is not a cop-out, I promise. I think it's huge for the franchise either way. I don't know what the Hall of Fame has planned. I don't know how that even works at all. I'm sure they'll take Adrian's opinion into consideration, but from what I understand, that's the Hall of Fame's call. Whether it's he can go in as a Red Sox, and it's still a huge deal for the Rangers. Adrian was here the longest. He had the best years of his career here. I think he has his number retired here. There's a massive connection between our fan base and Adrian. So there's no denying like what he's done in his career and how much he means to this organization, with or without what's reflected on his plaque.
Michael, you knew what kind of player Adrian was when he got here, but what did you know about his personality, and when did you see that personality come out?
Yeah, I think it came out here, really. I got to know him a little bit in Seattle. Again, we played against him so often. And with, I think, again, another overused word in sports, I really respected the hell out of the guy. Because at that point, he was good. He was really good. He wasn't as good as he was here. He took off here. But he was still a really great player. Defense was crazy. But the reason why I say respect is because Adrian always played hurt. You go into a clubhouse in those days, and there'd be that newspaper would be sitting right there, and you'd flip through. You're in Seattle, flipping through the local one. You see Adrian Beltre's hurt. He's questionable for tonight. It happened all the time, and he's in the lineup hitting fourth every single night. So that gets your attention right away as an opponent. And then you go out there and he's playing. He's hurt, but he's maintaining his productivity. A lot of guys can play hurt, but their production will suffer. He played hurt, and he was still really, really great. So I think that's where I would say I got the hang of that one for him. I was the one of the guys he did return a text to, by the way. Just wanted to make